One of the most stunning historical sites in the world is Newgrange. Newgrange is a passage tomb in County Meath, Ireland. While it is far less impressive looking than Stonehenge and the pyramids of Giza, Newgrange is older, more accessible, and to me, far more interesting. This passage tomb was built by pre-Celtic Neolithic people. They were sun worshippers, and the tomb served as a place for the spirits of the dead to be claimed each winter by the light of the sun. They carefully aligned Newgrange in a way that allowed for sunlight to peek through a tiny hole, which would then fill the inner sanctum of the tomb with light. And this only happens on winter solstice. It's some real Indiana Jones shit, this thing. The idea is that this tomb uses the idea is that the sun uses this sacred day to collect all of the souls of the dead from the altar within at this one moment each year. And if you go to Newgrange, you can go inside the tomb and they will demonstrate exactly what this moment looks like for you. If you want to go on solstice, you do have to enter a lottery. To see this moment is to understand a small but crucial part of this ancient culture. I cried when I saw it. It was such a beautiful and touching moment. Ireland has a rich history of gods, cryptids, magic, science, nature, and arts. The Book of Kells, Reginald's Tower, the Cliffs of Moher, and on and on and on. There is a lot of Irish culture to explore, and you might be fooled into thinking that with a title like Leprechaun 4 in space, this episode would dive deep into Ireland's millennia of cultural contributions. But strangely, no, it does not. This movie is as Irish. God, I cannot talk today. This movie is Irish and stereotype only. It's as Irish as a Boston cop. Hi, Cecil.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Tell me about your favorite moment in Ireland and the
My
times
favorite
you have
moment
gone.
in Ireland. There was one time where Desiree Birch and I went to a squat party, and we met some lesbians, and we started doing shots, and I tried on the lesbians' leather harnesses, and that was pretty exciting. It was a wild party.
That is, that is a real wild party. I have never done anything quite so amazing in Ireland. The Newgrange is one of the highlights, maybe my biggest
That
highlight
sounds
in
very
Ireland.
cultural of you.
It was very cultural.
Here I am trying on people's clothes, like over a bottle of whiskey.
That's cultural. I loved when we were on Europe tour in September, October last year. Our show in Cork was our final show of the tour. I think it was because Cork is a small town. I think it was our smallest audience of the whole tour. But
Yeah.
it was a full house in this
But mighty,
beautiful,
small but mighty.
and just that church that we performed in, just the acoustics, the folks who did the lighting,
Yeah.
everything about it was just. It was
God, it really was.
one of the best send-offs of a tour we've ever had. It was just such a great final show.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably the end of Irish talk today.
Yeah, that's it. Much like that church, which was filled with history, this movie is not. Okay, all right. So, okay. on last episode of Random Horror 9, because this could be an episode a bit about sequels. I'm going to talk about sequels because we got to this by having like literally the most random roll of it. Like we had so many, it was like tiny blank and period piece, which this is of a period, but unfortunately I think that period is 1996 is really when that period is. But we got to this, we had like 2 movies that were trash, and we had like 2 or 3 movies that were like Oscar winners were in them or made them. And I was like, we have to go one route or the other. And we had a guest, and she very so wisely chose one piece of trash and one piece of gold. We flipped and we got the trash.
Or did we get the Leprechaun's gold?
Or did we get Leprechaun's gold, Jeffrey?
Spoiler, we did not.
This movie is bananas.
It's really bananas.
I watched it with a friend. This is how bananas this movie is. I watched this with a friend who is notorious for falling asleep within 15 minutes of starting any movie, because apparently these are the only people I can be friends with. Like, I'm like, what do you love? Movies? Great. I'll be asleep next to you for the next 2 hours. And then the next day I was trying to explain this movie to my friend, almost like a warm-up for this podcast. I was trying to explain to him, he's like, so what happened? I was like, did you get to, have you seen Mittenhand's body? He's like, I saw Mittenhand's body. I was like, okay, great. So you made it to that, and just try to explain to him what happened in this movie. And he was looking at me like I either needed a lot of therapy or had just like chosen the worst or like the most unfortunate profession in the world to watch these kinds of horror movies and have to talk about them as horror homework. However, I had a blast.
I think this movie is fun, and it knows that it's fun. I don't think
it's trash.
It knows it's
trash.
Yeah,
it's trash.
And it's funny because I refrained from making the very, very stale dad joke last week when we chose it of, wait a minute, or am I going to understand Leprechaun 4 if I haven't seen Leprechauns 1 through 3? But I have to say, there is a little bit of me that was thinking, I wish I had seen Leprechauns, or at least Leprechaun 1, because
I thought about the same, Jeffrey.
I didn't really know the Leprechauns story, its lore, its powers.
Yeah. Also, well, and I mean, it begs the most important question: how'd that motherfucker get in space?
yeah. What happened
because
at the
this
end of
movie
part
gives
3?
you no clues, no hints, no clues, no, like tabula rasa. We are dropped down in the middle of the beginning of the universe here. Because and I thought about it, like I had some time today before recording this. I was like, what if I went back and watched Leprechaun 1? And I'm like, well, okay, which is admittedly the only of the series that I've seen. And I saw that thing like literally probably in 1997 on some VHS, very distracted at a college party or something like that. You know, so it's not like I've seen Leprechaun. I know Jennifer Aniston's in it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
You know, but I was like, well, okay, no, so scratch that. What if I watched Leprechaun 3? Because I want to know how he gets into space. But then I would have to actually sit through watching Leprechaun 3. So then I was like, well, wait, what if I just watched the last 15 minutes of Leprechaun 3? But I had to buy that. So I scratched that idea immediately for 15 minutes of film. So I've done no homework. And we are dropped down in the middle of the future.
Yeah, in media res. And we, you know, this movie obviously makes perfect sense. But, you know, the plot of this film is clear enough on its own. I just had questions about what the fuck this leprechaun can do and why. And yeah,
it's what? Like he can like move things. Also, well, I mean, this seems to be a problem throughout this entire movie. Everyone has the attention span of like a guppy. Like they will literally hatch a plan. The plan will be almost to fruition, and they'll literally have the tools to complete their plan in their hand, and then they'll just get distracted by something and walk away to a different part of the ship. So
these are Marines in this movie that are on this mission, and this is the exact that, you know, this takes place in 2096. So we're talking 80 years prior to this. The Marines, the SEAL team of the Marines, had managed to kill Osama bin Laden. And yet by 80 years later, they cannot basically just secure, a 12,000 square foot spaceship. Yeah. They can, so
still can't catch a leprechaun.
No. So this movie begins with with asteroids in space. So that's how we know.
God, it's no. It begins with one asteroid, and it is like they took a lot of time and energy into painting that asteroid,
spray painting that chunk of styrofoam. So we got a spaceship heading towards some red planet. Okay, so this is very like, it feels like the makers of this film watched Aliens and we're like, let's do Aliens.
Let's do Aliens meets Battlestar Galactica meets Melrose Place meets Silk Stockings meets Meatballs. There's one more ingredient that I'm missing though. There's one more ingredient. What's that ingredient? like a little Barbarella maybe on top.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe a little barbed wire. There's definitely some who's
Pamela
barbed wire?
Anderson.
Pamela Anderson
Yep.
vibes
Mm-hmm.
happening here.
This
meets Xena Warrior Princess. That's it.
Oh, there you go. So we get introduced to this whole crew of Marines. There's I'm not gonna go through all of them.
They don't need names.
They don't need names. The main ones are books.
There's Metalhead.
There's Metalhead, who is Sergeant
Colonel
Hooker.
Metalhead.
Yeah, Sergeant Hooker.
Kill.
Yep. Drag Sergeant.
Sergeant. Oh my God. Well, we'll get to that. Then there's Books, who is our incredibly handsome, sort of hunky lead. And the only I remember that name Books is because his face looks like a book. His head looks very much like a book.
Yeah, I could see that. And we are Cyborg Captain. We're at the planet of Ithacon, and Cyborg Captain is like, this is a search and destroy mission. There's an alien force that is destroying $500 million of mining. And this movie definitely falls into satire, clumsy, off-putting satire, because it's doing like broad strokes, as in like the military industrial complex is tightly connected with the corporate interests of America.
Yeah. But it also doesn't really matter because like there's only like 8 people on this entire ship, and the ship is literally made out of corrugated iron. So it's like,
you know what I actually was thinking about with this movie. This is Dollar Store Paul Verhoeven. This is Dollar General
Battlestar Galactica.
Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers. Yeah.
Yep, that's it. That's really the vibe. Like we get set down, and I was like, wow, things are like, they're very like, kill. Oh, and I was like, wow, the future is violent. I was like, oh, this is very interesting. But our inciting incident is Tina, Dr. Tina. Is it Dr. Tina? Yes,
Dr. Tina Reeves. Yep.
Dr. Tina walks in, and she has been assigned to the Marines, much like every other action movie you've ever seen. She's like, but I'm the smart one. And Dr. Metalhead is like, what do I need this little girl here for? This is crazy. And she's like, well, actually, I was assigned here by Dr. Mittenhands, your boss. So you're going to shut the fuck up. And I'm now hanging out with the Marines. Now, at this point, we are introduced to literally my favorite character that has been set down on film, and that is Dr. Mittenhands. Dr. Mittenhand, of course, they go with like a German accent, but Dr. Mittenhand is just a head on a screen that seems omnipresent on this ship. German accent and all, and is like, you will do what I tell you to do.
Very Dr. Strangelove happening.
So Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah. She's been assigned to acquire samples she says this is her language. She says, I'm here to acquire samples to take back to Dr. Mittenhand, which I love this because in 20 minutes, it's going to be a big shock to all these people that Dr. Mittenhands is actually on this ship.
Oh my God. Which is what I thought the whole time. I was like, is he just in the other room?
Yep.
And he literally is.
Yep.
Spoiler.
So on this planet, we see a woman, a damsel in distress, a woman chained to a cave wall in full makeup.
Full makeup, spiky bra.
Yep. And she is being held captive by a leprechaun in a tuxedo.
Like, okay, one, this planet, like literally, how can I describe this planet? Have you ever had a colonoscopy? Like, this planet literally looks like being inside someone's colon.
Yeah.
So it's like painted shit brown. Everything is brown. And it's kind of roughly like the inside of a colon. So imagine like it's kind of, so inner space. There you go. We got another movie.
Yep.
It's so I just kept thinking they were inside, the descending colon of somebody this entire time. 2, she is full Princess Leia out.
Yeah.
Like it is like she's chained to a wall for no reason and just like screaming for no reason.
In like sexy metal bikini, not metal, but like sexy bikini sort of thing. Yeah.
Sexy bikini with like harem pants, kind of look. And then Leprechaun. And then we just get like this Leprechaun appears, and God bless Warwick Davis, like for making a career for himself. But this movie is ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
His name is above that title, though. You better believe it.
Yeah.
God bless him. And you can tell the amount of time like Warwick Davis spent with the rest of the actors in this film was probably not a lot.
No.
It is a lot of cutaway shots to Leprechaun going and cutting off his own finger, or like gesturing weirdly with pointy fingers that then will later, or just like looking around a corner and going, oh, and just being surprised. Like Warwick Davis does some amazing reaction shots of just him.
He's doing full like Hanna-Barbera Shakespearean villain.
Yeah.
He's doing full cartoonish Shakespearean, like Iago. He's got asides throughout this whole movie.
He has asides. He literally does. He has soliloquies.
Yeah.
Like does he say odds bodkins at one point? He says something in his like I will wed her, bed her, and kill her all in one day. And I was like, that's some Richard the Third shit right there.
Yeah.
You get it, Warwick Dave. All right. It's like, I don't know. It actually, some of this, he performs them very well. I mean, they have no purpose in this film other than he was like, my contract says you better fucking write me some lines. And they better be good.
They wrote him lines. They got note one, and they wrote him some lines.
They're like, we wrote you 2 soliloquies. It's like, oh, that this too solid flesh would turn into gold. Me gold, me gold, me gold. How's that sound?
So this whole bit with this is Princess Zarina.
Yes.
And the whole idea is that she is from Dominia, I think I wrote it down somewhere else in my notes. She is Dominion. So she is the daughter of the king of Dominia.
Yes.
And the Leprechaun is there to say, no, I'm not sure why he needs a queen to become king, other than I'm marrying.
It becomes very clear. He's and he talks it out for you. He's like, I will marry you. You will become queen someday, and that will make me a king. But then your father's a king, so I will be oh dear.
So the idea here is that her father is a benevolent king in that he has distributed all of the riches of his kingdom to the people of his planet or whatever. So he's like a truly he's offering student loan forgiveness basically to everyone and paying for it with his own royal money. So he's this like good guy, whereas the Leprechaun has a shit ton of gold and jewels because he's a leprechaun, I'm presuming. But the Leprechaun isn't happy with just having money. The Leprechaun wants the worship of a kingdom. He wants the power. He wants the power. So that's why he's like, I have to marry you. And she actually is kind of like, I'll go with it because A, I would love to have nice things again because daddy gave all of my money away, and B, there's probably a good chance I can pour some poison in your ear later and
absolutely
the sole queen of all of this.
But more importantly, C, he makes a bunch of Easter egg sized like foil wrapped jewels appear in front of her, and that distracts her.
Ring pops. It's just a table full of ring pops.
It was like not even Mardi Gras level of jewelry.
Yeah, they found that in some Hollywood warehouse of old props, and they didn't even bother to like run it through the dishwasher once.
No, they didn't. They're just like, I don't know, this horse ate this, and just shat it out in Modesto. It'll be fine. Just bring it set. It'll look good. I don't know. We'll light it. We'll fix it. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
it's on how you light it. But this is going on. But so she's on board, and so we have this sort of like kind of Lord and Lady Macbeth, on board this ship, which is seemingly vast and only manned by like these 6 people that have no clue what to do other than shoot guns ineffectively, and hang out at the club.
Oh my God, that fucking club. These I make the stormtrooper joke quite a bit on the show about bad shots in movies.
Oh yeah,
but these people are worse than storm. They don't even know how to hold a gun.
they don't.
They have never aimed a gun. They've never fired a gun. It is apparent from the get-go that this Marine Corps has no clue what a gun is.
It's wild, man. And there's like guns everywhere. And also like Books has a giant knife that he pulled out. Nope, never saw that thing again. And also they have like, but it was it took me a bit of like a little of a shock. Like they have like wildly different kinds of guns. Like, they're like establishing shot. We are Marines, and it's all like, like big, but then all of a sudden they just have like dirty, hairy hand pistols for whatever reason. I'm like, where the fuck? What is happening?
I'm sure.
Aren't you in space? Aren't you like a million miles? How? Also, can we talk about? This is the burning question that I had was, are they going to kill Leprechaun? Or is Leprechaun just like what they ran into? Like, was Leprechaun the alien that they were going out to find because something has been stealing all their gold? He's
unclear because they okay. Well, okay, here's the way I piece this.
I kept expecting like the real monster, there to be like a space monster on the planet that they're like, oh shit, it's Objective 1,
Here's what I think is going on. I think the Leprechaun got to this planet because it has gold and jewels and shit to mine.
Okay.
And so they say at the beginning, Captain Metalhead says, hey, we've got some alien is destroying $500 million of mining operations.
Sure.
So my thinking is we have been strip mining this planet for gold. Later, Dr. Tina says that about Zarina, when they have her on board, that if we can heal her from her injuries, this would be huge for our relationship with Dominia. So I think this relationship with Dominia is fading because we're coming and strip mining their planet of gold and jewels.
There's no more gold to strip mine.
And we're trying to do that, but the Leprechaun is actually up there taking a bunch of fucking gold.
Okay, so Leprechaun is Objective 1.
I think so.
Like they don't know what it is. They certainly listen, Jeffrey. They didn't read the title of the movie.
They did
so
not.
They don't know it's a leprechaun.
Yeah.
They just think alien.
Yeah. So they land on this planet. This movie is filled with so 90s. It's filled with like one-liners that are trying their hardest, but it is like me trying to hit a major league fastball. Opening line, Book says this is a real vacation spot, and Captain Metalhead says, well, you've never been to Detroit. I'm like, okay, chill out on Detroit hate.
Yeah.
Let's just cool it.
Also, you just said Detroit.
Sorry,
not you. Like the actor says, like, have you ever been to Detroit? And I was like, I think it's Detroit. I don't know.
Yeah,
he says it like a weird robot person.
I say Detroit because of where I grew up. I don't know why. I just it's
Detroit.
It's Detroit.
Detroit.
I say Detroit. Michigan.
I don't know. What are these places? It's all made up anyway.
I did clock this that made me laugh a lot, but there's a moment where Dr. Reeves and Dolores, who's the sexy Marine,
yes,
they have
who everybody respects the fuck out of Dolores, the sexy Marine.
Yeah, sure, she seems great, fun gal. So, but Dr. Reeves and Dolores are talking when they get out onto the planet, and Dr. Reeves is asking Dolores if she gets nervous before going into combat, and Dolores, like, this is actually kind of a real conversation that doesn't seem
right,
silly or stupid. And
for
Dolores
like 2
is
minutes, we got like a real movie.
We got like a normal conversation about what it means to be nervous going into combat, and Dolores is like, well, of course I do. I mean, I think that's what keys us up to fight. So, and then I just wrote down, ladies and gentlemen, we passed the Bechdel test.
Yeah. Well,
two women, both named, had a conversation about something other than a man. And that's pretty much all we're going to get for feminism in this movie.
That's about it. Because listen, their pants are going to be ripped off in about 45 minutes. But you bring up something interesting. So yeah, like in a strange, this movie does have strange moments of lucidity. Warwick Davis performing second-rate Richard III is one of them, and this is the other, this Bechdel test moment, because it's kind of true, and it brings me back to like what Wes Craven says in like Red, White, and Blue, American Nightmare, which is like, horror movies are boot camp for the teenage soul.
Mm-hmm.
And predominantly the people that have horror movies have been marketed to have been working class people that are also like number one to be put into the military. And it's this idea of like, the same who get kind of violent video games, violent movies, like this is, we assign you to that here, while you have hours and hours and hours while the government owns your body, watch these horror movies that desensitize yourselves to the actions which you may or may not have to occur, like be performing later on. But in a weird way, they're not wrong. Like, yeah, horror movies, like this is like, there is something about being scared. Like when I listen, as any performer will tell you, you should be a little stage fright. There should be a little stage, like butterflies in your tummy before you walk on every single time. Because if not, then you're dead inside and it probably won't be very good. Like, I don't know, you should be a little scared of the enemy if you're going to have to work up the nerve to kill a space leprechaun,
yeah. So they get inside this cave. They shoot some other monster that's unclear what it is.
Unclear.
And then
I was like, was that objective one? Is that? No. Okay.
And then they end up in this one of the soldiers, Lucky, goes inside the cave, and he finds the table full of gold and jewels, and he starts to steal it when from behind him comes a leprechaun with a goddamn lightsaber.
Yep. Yes.
Literal lightsaber.
Literal light to like wow, like we actually see it. And what does he do? He cuts off Lucky's legs. We see none of this. We just see like a splatter of blood and Lucky falling to the ground. Yeah. And I was like, well, okay, kill count 1, but the death was a little bit weak sauce, I got to admit.
There was really very little budget for special effects outside of Dr. Mittenhands and the Mitten Spider.
And the Mitten Spider.
And of course, the Leprechaun himself.
Leprechaun. And they did make a lightsaber, They gave him a leprechaun lightsaber.
That's true.
Gave him a leprechaun lightsaber. I do love it when, movies kind of like silly movies, satire movies, like acknowledge pop culture like that. Because come on. I was like, oh, fuck, he's got a lightsaber. Like, this is ridiculous. And it's green, of course. Duh, he's a leprechaun. What other color would his lightsaber be? I ask you.
Yeah, and
but then off we go. And then everybody's like, huh? Where was that character? What was his name? Who cares? I don't know. On with the plot we go.
I have a question I wish Sarah Griff was back on for this week's episode, but I have a question for our Irish listeners. God bless Warwick Davis so much for his amazing performance. Is this at all an Irish accent?
No.
It does not sound... I have not spent a ton of time in Ireland, but quite a bit. And it does not sound very Irish to me.
It's just a little more bangers and mash.
It's a little bit more bangers and mash, yeah.
I was like, are you supposed to? Oh, listen, he sounds like he's Cockney for some reason.
Yeah.
Are you from London, Ireland? Because I don't think that's a thing. Manchester, Ireland? Closer? No, still not a thing.
No, still not a thing.
No. So it was a little rough. It was a little rough, that Irish accent. But then, he would say like, me gold, and you would of course forget about it. Like it was more pirate.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's pirate.
Yeah.
So they get into a shootout where they're just shooting guns willy-nilly without looking at their targets at the leprechaun.
But it's like Leprechaun. So it's like Leprechaun, and we're in Colon Cave. We're inside the colonoscopy cave. And it's like, this is not a big cave, you guys. Like this is like the size of a 1-bedroom apartment away from each other, having a shootout. And it's like Leprechaun, who's got a fucking like a pump loaded shotgun or something ridiculous. I can't remember what weapon. He's got like some crazy gun. And then there's like these 6 people and nobody can hit anybody.
No.
And I forget, how does Leprechaun get out of this one?
He doesn't because they throw. Well, okay. Well, so what they do is they somebody throws a grenade. Kowalski throws a grenade and it blows the leprechaun to literal
That's right.
smithereens.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And leprechaun gets blown up because he sees the grenade and he dives on it to save Zarina.
He said, I know, which you're just like, wait, what? That Leprechaun's doing like a selfless thing? That doesn't seem very Leprechaun MO.
No. But Zarina, who in the process seems unscathed other than she's missing a hand. We never actually see
oh my god
her like stump of a wrist. We just see somebody pick up her hand and hold it. And like, oh, she lost her hand.
Well, no, and literally can somebody give me a hand here?
Ugh.
Like that's the level of humor we are talking about for Leprechaun 4. And then somebody throws a hand at that person. They go, and then that's the scene. Like that entire joke is it. Oh, and she has of course flawless makeup. Of course, after having been in a firefight,
and lost her hand to a grenade.
And lost her hand.
But her face is amazing.
Amazing. She is serving.
And so what happens is Kowalski, because he's like, well, since I got the kill, I get to pee on the body of the victim. I'm like, is that how this works? I don't know all the unwritten rules of war, but
I mean, I've seen Full Metal Jacket, and I don't remember that.
They do some fucked up shit in Full Metal Jacket. I don't remember peeing on bodies.
But if it's in Leprechaun 4, then it's got to be true.
Yeah, it's definitely it. And somehow the leprechaun spirit zips right up his pee stream into his wee-wee.
Yes, it does. That's it.
I think I described that perfectly.
I think you did. Yeah.
Okay. So
and at this moment, yesterday, you texted me and said, what the fuck are you making me watch right now, Cecil?
I texted you during the drag show at the end. Is when I texted you.
Was that because I received it after? No, actually, I received it after Leprechaun is reborn from the wee wee.
Okay. Oh,
that was when I received it, and so there's still I had an hour's worth of movie, and I had already seen more on celluloid than I think I had ever seen before in my life. So. I was like, what could I pop? And I didn't count on Dr. Mitten Spider.
No, Dr. Mitten Spider nor drag hooker.
Nor helmet helmet drag.
Yeah.
Lord Helmet Drag. Oh,
okay.
God.
So we're kind of gonna set up a couple of things that are kind of basic to the plot that are pretty predictable, whereas Dr. Tina and Books are bickering a lot because he's a dumb soldier and she's a smart doctor.
It's very moonlighting.
They're both very pretty, and they're gonna get together because they're both very horny for each other, but they like to play spat as foreplay. Now we meet Harold, who is Dr. Mittenhand's weird assistant,
aka the role that I would be playing had I been in Los Angeles in 1996. He's a nebbish. He's a nudge.
He's nebbish. Yeah, that's what it is. Nebbish is
he's a yeah. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh yes, Dr. Mitten. Oh, Dr. Mittenhands. Please don't point your finger at me, Dr. Mittenhand. Oh dear.
Positive
one of those.
Jewish representation. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
We're really nailing the Jews and the Irish in this movie. Really,
the
just
Jews.
And
I love putting the Jew that's subservient to the German scientist.
Perfect.
That's great. Perfect. Great.
So,
but he's also wearing purple wizard robes. Did I forget to mention that?
Yeah.
Kind of odd.
Harold, I think Harold bisexual icon as well.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because
Oh yeah.
He's super in love with Zarina's unconscious body, as we see later. Yes. He's creepily looking and kissing her foot and shit.
Yeah.
But then also when he runs into Books is standing. Books puts his hand on him or something. And Harold says, "Don't touch me
unless you mean it."
Bisexual icon Harold.
Yes. We're checking off all the boxes in Leprechaun 4 in space.
So Dr. Mittenhand basically has a showdown. His little screen pops up again, and he has a showdown with Captain Metalhead.
Yep.
and says, Dr. Metalhead says, like, listen, we were only contracted for 30 days. That ends at midnight tonight.
Yes.
What is time and space? But
I know,
still,
right? I was like, where, like, you're literally in the middle of nowhere. Like, your mission doesn't end until it's over,
are you on
until you're
Greenwich Mean
home.
Time? Like,
Yeah.
which time zone are you in
Yeah.
when you're on the planet Dominia or wherever we at?
Dominia. Ikatha. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, it was Ikathot or something. I don't know. So that's the showdown here, which is Dr. Mittenhand says, no, you're going to keep orbiting the planet until we have people mining that will come. Until the mining people arrive, you're basically just on security detail to orbit this planet.
Yeah.
And listen, there'll be a nice bonus in it for you. So how's
Sure.
that?
Great.
So now, dance party, Cecil.
Wow. Okay. This is where things get wild. This is like season 1 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer level of going to the club.
Yeah.
Like, everything is in pink and blue. They're drinking from plastic cups from Target. I shit you not.
No, yeah, you're 100%
swear
right.
to God.
I know people who had these cups.
I went to a frat party in the 90s and they had these cups.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre. I was like, what? Like, it's like terrible music. It's like just like 3 dudes weirdly dancing, and then, Books and Tina trying to decide if they're going to sleep together or not, but just doing their thing over in the corner. But also, like, they're the only people on this ship, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
But they keep having to pull each other aside, and I was like, there's no aside here. You got, like, you only move 2 feet away. It's not like they don't know what you're talking about. What is happening?
And do you not have anything else to do to operate this ship? Like who's the pilot? Who's the pilot of this ship?
What is the gravity on this? Like, what? Don't you have, like, systems checks you have to be doing?
Yeah.
It's bananas. I was like, the USS Enterprise, Whoopi Goldberg's bar, this is not.
Mm-mm.
It's and it's like, it's all the, like, everyone here, the casting is so Melrose Place, Silk Stockings, USA Up All Night, like, it's so that.
Yeah.
Skinamax. Like, this is like the heyday of Skinamax.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so Dolores and Kowalski are sexy dancing, and all the other boys are just making sex jokes. And then Dolores is like, let's go someplace together. And she, runs off with Kowalski, and all the other Marines are drunk and kind of verbally high-fiving each other. This guy's going to
they make a joke. They just to remind you, which I appreciated, because it is kind of like potato head white boy syndrome. I was like, he's the guy who pissed on the leprechaun.
That's right.
So his dick is going to be extra small. Have fun fucking. And they go into what is it? The waist? No, that's later.
That's later. But it's just like some industrial looking hallway with metal staircases and shit.
Do you know what it is? It's a Paula Abdul video. I've just figured it out. They are inside. This movie is inside a Paula Abdul video.
Yeah. So she starts grabbing his dingus, and he's like, ow, it hurts. Ow, it hurts. She's like, I'm not grabbing you that hard. Not before he says,
like, say hello to Mr. Snake or something. Like,
yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, the writing is ludicrous.
So it's real. Now his dick is really hurting him. And she's like, I'm not grabbing you that hard. And then he kind of like collapses. And then now his crotch starts bulging like the man's chest in Alien.
Yes.
Which is literally what they're going for, like the alien bursting. It's the chest burster.
The chest, yeah.
But this time
it's a dick burster.
It's the the crotch burster, and his pants are bulging. And then there's no blood in this scene. It's just the leprechaun just crawls out of a hole that they've built.
It's like literally through like black fabric. It's like, and then maybe a little CGI cartoon effect, and he's just like collapsed on the ground, and then all of a sudden there's leprechaun. And
the leprechaun like flies away. I'm like, what?
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, that was amazing.
Leprechauns fly. Okay, great. Good to know.
The leprechaun flies away. Like, it was at this point that I got your text saying, what hath you made me do? And I was like, I don't know, man, but I just watched a leprechaun have a breech birth out of a Marine's penis in space. So clearly I got my money's worth out of this film.
Here's a note that I wrote to myself, really to you, the listeners, in my notes. So I just wrote, there's a leprechaun doing a John Wayne impersonation, in case you're wondering how my night is going.
Yep. And that's about it.
So now she runs free. She manages to kick him in the nards and get out back to the other Marines to say,
kill her on the loose.
She says it's alive, is what she says.
Yes.
Also, we should talk about, there's one of the other guys who's kind of active in this movie is the soldier Styx.
Yep.
Who is our only black person in this movie.
Yep.
Styx is wisecracking and funny. And Styx is, there's in the dance scene in the this fucking place has a nightclub in it, which is bonkers to me.
It's the holodeck, right?
Sure. And the other dudes are dancing behind him, and he just rolls his eyes at the white dudes and he says, man, 21st century and they still can't dance. That's kind of the level, the level of this movie. So now we're in the sick bay again, where Harold is groping Zarina's unconscious body, just
like sniffing her fingers and shit.
So but he notices that her tissues have regenerated. Her hand has grown back.
Yes.
I love that. Okay. This made me smile because okay, so I like the idea that her DNA can reproduce like a lizard, right? A lizard.
That's pretty cool.
Regrow its tail. I think that's a neat power. Cool. He sees that her right hand that had been blown off previously has grown back. Not only has her DNA grown her hand back exactly as it was before, it even put the glitter nail polish on it.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Her nails are well, Jeffrey, she's an alien, so that might just be the color of her nail.
It might be. Yeah, that's true.
I think that, listen, it's a period piece. I don't know a lot about 2096.
No, we didn't study that in college when I took my history.
You know
classes.
how it is, like you get to the end of the semester and they kind of like everything after World War II just kind of gets like luck. You know, they're like they do it all in a week. We didn't quite make it to 2096 in school.
No, same.
It was more like that we watched a movie, and that movie that teacher put on before study day was Leprechaun 4 in space. And I am a product of the American education system. Public school, baby.
So now they've got to hunt down this fucking leprechaun.
And I love how Dr. Mittenhands is like, there's a confrontation scene that's actually kind of funny in a way. Like they come in, this is where they come in, and like Harold's like, you know, like, you don't tell me what to do. And, you know, Colonel Buckethead's like, like literally, like he's got one of those voices. Like he reminds me of that. There's like famous, like a character actor that plays like the dad, you know, like kind of like a Ted Bundy, like Al Bundy kind of quality to it meets, you know, the drill sergeant from fucking Full Metal Jacket. But Dr. Mittenhand puts him in his place, and he's like, I'll pay you all $1 bajillion. All you have to do is kill the leprechaun.
Yeah.
Or kill the alien, because they don't quite know, even though they've seen it. No one has commented on the fact it looks very much like a motherfucking leprechaun, like to the like stripy socks and buckle on shoe, but they don't relay this information to Dr. Mittenhand. Yeah,
Dolores just had a giant wrestle fight with a leprechaun wearing a green hat with the little buckle belt on the top and curly toed shoes. Yeah. So, they I do sort of like the scene where Dr. Mittenhands emerges and we see that it is just a man's upper torso mounted to a podium.
A Dalek.
It's kind of, Dalek with a human body. It's a centaur Dalek, basically.
Yeah.
So
and I know what I'm going to my next Comic-Con as.
That's not the scene I liked. I like the moment where Sergeant Hooker, Buckethead, says because he's trying to protect his Marines. He's like, we're already losing people here. And he's like, okay, fine, we'll do it for the bonus. And 5% of your
this moment. Yeah.
5% net of whatever. And so they're talking like basically like back end points, which I think is very funny. So
it's
he
like for every like 25,000 sold, I get a point off the bat. And I was like, I don't know what any of this means. I know this is movie lingo. It means number business things to me.
I just like it as a funny moment where he suddenly takes more action than just, oh, your ass is grass sort of guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we go down. Now we're going to get into the fucking.
Now the hunt is on.
The waste dump.
The hunt is on.
They
so
want to
what do
look.
they do? Jeffrey, if you're in charge of a huge spaceship.
Yeah.
Giant spaceship.
Yeah.
We have like 5 team members. Where do you start looking?
I'm going to tell you what I do because I already know what the fucking leprechaun wants. And all I do is I just run guard by the fucking medical deck.
Yeah.
That's all I do. I don't bother looking for the thing. I'm like, you want it? Come and get it.
Yeah.
Come and get it.
So
that's what I do.
That's what you would do? So
Yes.
so you're saying you would do something different than starting in the shithouse.
Everybody's so creative. Yep. Nope, I would not do what they did.
Like stop number 1. They're like, okay, we got to search this ship from top to bottom. Let's start at the bottom. Waste management. Get in that shithole, Sergeant.
This scene makes no sense. One, why
So
is this the first place they look is in the dumpster?
Yeah.
Which is where, like, as Dr. Tina tells us, it's filled with flesh-eating bacteria.
Yes.
If that's the case, and when we see what this flesh-eating bacteria is capable of, why are there no warning signs? Like, not only have the Marines fallen off, OSHA has too. Like, there are no warning signs on this fucking door.
Well, I mean, the spaceship is password protected, so.
And the password was just wizard. No capital letters, no special characters, nothing.
Just drawn like a fucking child, like in a child's hand. So the hazardous biomaterial that we keep in this door to eat all of our waste. Let's go dig around in there for a second. But then they go in there and they don't keep anything in there but chains. Did you notice that? There's a lot of chains in the just chains from the ceiling, like not connected to anything except the one chain that our idiot pulls, because now they put on hazard suits, right? They put on the hazard suits, and he just pulls on a chain and then blood
just pours on his head. Yep.
That's it. So I want Dr. Mittenhands, you seem like a genius. However, I question what is happening on this spaceship? Why is it when you pull a chain, blood falls onto the floor? Like, this is insane.
It's super insane. And the leprechaun is in there for whatever reason. And the leprechaun
he is.
And the leprechaun, for whatever reason, is also in a hazmat suit. But the leprechaun seems, as this movie goes on, completely indestructible. He gets blowed to shreds twice in this movie, and both times he's perfectly fine.
I like to think he's more of the idea of a leprechaun.
Yeah. So I don't know why he's in a hazmat suit. You can't
kill an idea, Jeffrey. You can't blow up an idea. Well, he can't shoot an idea.
He slashes open Mooch's hazmat. Mooch is one of the other soldiers with books. Slashes open his suit. Mooch is just screaming and screaming. They manage to get back out. I love this. So when he gets back out to the airlock of this thing, they open up the door and Mooch is completely just a skeleton.
Just a skeleton inside a suit. Like,
now,
very crisp.
My question is, if those flesh-eating bacteria are so quick, so strong to do that, why are we all standing around without suits on staring at this man's fucking body? Close that fucking air hatch.
Yeah, shouldn't you? You're like, just don't like touch him and then later like lick your hands or like or put your hands in your eye, because that's really dangerous.
Yeah, you're supposed to sing happy birthday to each of your hands when you wash them.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's right.
So now we've got another leprechaun aside, and we've got some other bullshit.
This is literally where we have like he is going full monologue here.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And it's like these scenes would just happen. And I would like literally, here's me just like with the joint, the joint's just burning in my hand. I'm like, huh? Oh, all right.
Okay, so now we're gonna get a series of creative deaths. So first we have everyone's paired off, run off
Yep.
together to pair
Yep.
off. So now we have
Books and Tina.
yeah, we had first we had Books and Mooch, but he's dead. So now we're gonna have
Yep.
Books and Tina. We also have Danny and Styx, and
Danny
Danny
through leprechaun magic.
Yeah.
Some leprechaun magic.
Again, like, why is he like only picking single people to like? He is the classic super villain of a horror movie that gets paid by the hour, right?
Like if you can magic away someone's communication device, you can magic their head off their body. You know?
Yeah. Do it for that.
But
well, at one point he's just creating explosions with his hand. I'm like, why not just kill all of the humans on the ship except Zarina?
Oh my god, that firefight is so dumb, Jeffrey. It's like there's like ah! And then fire will happen like right in front of the camera, but neither party is burnt. But then later he's afraid of fire when he's like, it's madness.
I don't know, man. Well, Danny gets killed because Danny says, I would rather just hide out until somebody else kills that thing.
Yes.
Like logical coward, good solid coward logic, right?
Great.
Relatable.
Like, why not just sit down right here and wait to collect our money?
Yeah. So,
but Styx is like, I'm a Marine, man.
Yeah.
Forward march. But he sort of books it. I actually did kind of like the scene between, like, this is a good death.
Yeah, do it.
Good death.
So Danny and Leprechaun.
Yeah. So Danny is like, they're all sort of willy-nilly floating around this spaceship, right? They're looking around, and like the coward finds the leprechaun. And he's like, I have no problem with you. Like, why don't we partner up? And Leprechaun's like, yes, why don't we partner up? And he's like, yes, why don't we partner up? And he says, yes, why don't we partner up? Why don't we partner up? Yes, why don't we partner up? Why don't we partner up? Yes, why don't we partner up? Why don't we partner up? Yes, why don't we partner up? Like, this goes on for a minute. Not exactly, but it's pretty much that. And then Leprechaun drops a door in his motherfucker.
Yeah. Just drops a big metal thing, crushes him. We're done.
Yep.
He also does a thing too where this is very Freddy Krueger. Like, he does the Freddy Krueger bit because he appears to him on a monitor as a safety video. Like, be careful with cutting shears, and he's like starts scissoring off his own fingers, which is what Freddy does to Tina in First Nightmare on Elm Street. So again,
that was that death
times.
In a nutshell.
Yeah. We also have Books and Tina. Books gets magically handcuffed to some cage. It takes him a good 25 minutes to figure out he can just shoot the handcuffs off of him.
I'd also like to point out that like essentially, if you've ever worked in a restaurant, that is a speed shelf. Like, that is a that is a catering.
Yeah.
That is what you keep, like, that's what you like proof rolls on.
Mm-hmm.
I know it. Like, I was traumatized. I had a trauma response, and I went, oh, what? Oh, just okay. All right. Well, here we go. 10 minutes later, he's like, blam, blam, blam.
So Books and Tina managed to get themselves out of this because while Leprechaun has the ability to do so many things, he cannot aim his explosions to harm anyone.
And while he can create fire from his fingertips, when Books shoots a duct, which I'm assuming is important to the operation of this spaceship.
Yeah.
But apparently nothing happens when the flaming duct, which also the duct is on fire, which makes no sense because it's literally made of fucking metal, falls in front of Leprechaun. Leprechaun is confused and frightened by the fire. So you can see, like, it's a twisted circular logical thing going on here.
Okay, so
but I think we've killed off all the other characters. We've kind of got our main three. No,
not yet. No, not yet. Because so now they regroup. The Marines regroup, and they send Dolores out onto the sky bridge thing.
That's right.
And she's like, I found him.
Yeah.
And then he uses magic to lock the door behind her so that none of the other Marines can help her. But
They're
he's
trying to
just
save her.
Dolores is the one person who can shoot, apparently.
Yeah.
And she fires her fucking M16 and just blows him to smithereens.
Yep.
And she's like, I got him. Killed him.
Leprechaun explosion number 2
Yeah.
of 3.
So then he just somehow just reappears out of the garbage or out of the remains of his own body.
Yeah, it's like his hand or a foot turns into him, something.
And then he chucks her over the ledge, not before, like, she holds on with a finger and he does like, this little piggy went to market, and stomps each of her fingers off.
Now, Jeffrey, do you think you could hold on to your body weight with just like one finger?
Oh,
no.
I can't hold on to a chin-up bar and just dangle, right?
You're just like, I'm gonna die up here. It's very silly.
It's super, super silly. So they get down to Dolores's body. I love this too, is Books and Tina are hunched over Dolores's body, smashed at the bottom where she had fallen 60 feet or whatever. And she's the doctor, right? Tina is Dr. Tina Reeves.
Dr. Tina.
And she is hunched over the body of a mortally wounded soldier.
Yeah.
And Books is like, let her go, she's dead. And then Dolores sits up and is like, you must kill him. And I'm like, hey, let me doctor here, Books.
Yeah, you're like, did you have a tricorder or something? You can be like, no, she's still alive. I'm getting vital signs.
Oh my God.
It's ridiculous. But she does kind of die there. She doesn't do anything.
She does die. Yeah, she just says, kill him.
Yeah.
So now the way the leprechaun gets into the fucking medical room, as he pretends to be a naked Tina begging Harold, please let me into the lab. They took all of my clothes. Please help me.
Please, you've got to do it now.
So then, he does.
And then turns to the camera, and the actor playing Tina says in leprechaun voice, like some weird snippy aside, like, oh, you're always after me gold, or something ridiculous like that. I like, at this point my mind melted again.
Yeah. Absolutely melted. This, oh God, this whole fucking scene. Okay, so we get into the lab, and now he has a confrontation with Dr. Mittenhands.
Yes.
Okay, again, another moment of lucidity, because there's an interesting semantic argument that happens here, because it's another moment for the leprechaun to spell out what I want. He gets his I want song, if this were a musical.
Yeah, this is the reprise of the Leprechaun I Want.
Yes, and so he's reprising the Leprechaun I Want by saying, I want people to worship me, and she is my key to getting this, so I'm going to take her from you. And he says, Dr. Mittenhands says, what good is having people worship you? What you want is people to fear you. And I like the semantic difference. It points out what the two of them are truly after. I want to be feared. I want to be worshipped. And in essence, those two things are the same to both men. Fascinating conversation. It would be a great song. I would never go watch this musical, but still, just a moment.
And weirdly enough,
lucidity.
Ties into Dr. Mittenhand's I Want, which is he wants to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Because does he reveal? He doesn't reveal the plot. His like cell regeneration plot yet.
He did earlier. I just blew
okay.
past it. He kind of tells Harold, like, I was once considered quite dashing.
Yes, and it was like
So Dr. Mittenhands is clearly like buying time, because Harold is coming back into the room with the knife that he got stabbed with a moment ago by the leprechaun. And he manages to stab the leprechaun right in the middle of the back. And we all, because these guys haven't encountered this alien before, they don't realize indestructible. Leprechaun's like, ah! But then he turns around and says, thanks for giving me my knife back. Then he takes basically an aluminum platter, something that weighs 14 ounces and would probably wobble if you flipped it back and forth. And he hurls it at Harold's face so hard as to flatten it cartoon style.
Yes. Like, you would think discus style cut off his head. That's what you would think, right?
That's where I was going. I thought it was going to split his head in half down the middle.
But oh my no, like like squashes his face into a platter-sized face.
Yeah. Cartoon. It's a Tom and Jerry
Honestly,
cartoon.
pretty good death.
Yeah. Like it. Dig. So so now we've got the princess is now awake.
Are we talking
And
about Margaritaville when the Margaritaville
yeah,
special?
and so they've got Dr. Mittenhand's hostage, and so what he does is he starts blending some. Here, I'm a mixologist. I love making a fancy cocktail. So what he's
Yeah.
done here in a blender, you're gonna need ice for this for dilution, but also for texture. I think a little bit of blue curacao is what he seems
Yep.
to add here. Now, where this is for a whole party, so it looks like he's doing like a quarter cup to a half a cup of blue curacao. I would have probably gone with like, I think a mezcal would have been really interesting. Maybe you could like mix it with a little bit like Blanco tequila.
Okay.
What he does though is he throws a whole tarantula
Yep.
and a
Which
giant
he picks up with
scorpion.
chopsticks.
Yep. He puts a tarantula and a scorpion into this blender.
Yes. One whole tarantula, one whole
Whole
scorpion.
scorpion, blends it up and injects it into the back of
Really?
Dr. Mittenhead's hands, which I'm like, I have not thought of hypodermic needle as a vessel. I would have gone with like a Nick and Nora glass or a coupe, or just like your standard margarita glass. I would have.
Rim.
You could even.
What would you do on a rim? Sweet rim, salty rim? Sweet rim, right? Rim with a blue curacao.
Oh, I think with the blue curacao, you want to do something like, I think like a cinnamon and sugar, like cinnamon sugar sort of thing, might have been kind of nice with that orange. Oh, you know what? Or even like a shaved chocolate in with the sugar. I think would have been kind of interesting with curacao, the orange.
But I never thought about injecting alcohol directly into my veins via a hypodermic needle.
Yeah, no, I think that's an amazing idea.
What could go wrong?
What could go right?
Well, listen, you could turn into Dr. Mitten Spider is what could go wrong.
So,
I also love there's also like there's a moment in here where like Princess Xena and Leprechaun are trying to like figure out what Mittenhand's like Achilles heel is, because clearly he controls the entire ship. But also Mittenhand has made reference to the fact that he's actually a computer that grew a body, or is he a body that's like, it is very unclear which comes first in here.
Okay, Mittenhands was normal human.
Okay.
But Mittenhands was part of what he tells Harold in an earlier scene, the one that I glossed over, because I had blocked it out, and now you've
literally like this,
you've unearthed this memory. This is like therapy, a traumatic
happens
memory
in front of you. It's like going into a fugue state. This movie.
So he was a human, and he underwent in his quest for power and whatever. He underwent an experiment wherein he could become he would be a fully organic computer. That's that was the experiment he went under, and the experiment went terribly wrong, and now he's hideous.
Yes.
And as they sort of figure out later, he is organic because he does become a spider when they inject him or whatever. But that's the deal is that he thought he was going to become, it's sort of like a Swamp Thing, right? Where you think you're going to become just like Swamp Thing, but you actually become
like
weird,
what was it?
Elf guy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Because you're a weird elf on the inside.
Yeah.
That's merely what it does.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking more Darth Vader. Like your organic material, but we've had to fill in some of the middle bits.
He's very Darth Vader.
But here's the thing is like, in order to like neutralize him, literally all they do is put a rubber ball gag in his mouth and tie his hand.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, the man is attached to the computer that is presumably running the ship. I mean, literally he was running that entire ship with just his right hand.
Yeah.
All of it.
Well, also, like, it tells you that he's got a Wi-Fi connection to all of the CPU of this, to the mainframe of this ship. Yeah. So you're not really holding him back by tying his hand. I don't know. Anyways.
Also, did you notice the sneaky dildo in the
no.
There was definite, listen, this is like, look for it. Like in amongst the test tubes, There is absolutely a sneaky dildo. It is a sky blue.
Oh,
Look
that's
for it
hilarious. Okay.
if you
Very
ever watch
funny.
this movie and you can remember what happened and you don't block it out of your mind like a fever dream.
Don't watch this movie. Okay, if you do, tell us about it. So now we're coming in and we are what's happening? Oh yeah, the Marines come in and the Leprechaun ends up taking Sergeant Hooker hostage by strapping him full of dynamite somehow magically.
Which he magics into existence.
Yes.
Like sticks of dynamite, which I love.
Listeners, I want to tell you, we have talked about a lot of bonkers shit in this movie, but we have not even gotten to the most confounding scene I have ever seen in cinema, because what happens next is Zarina turns to all of the Marines and just opens her bra, shows them her tits, and says, "This is your fate."
Yes.
And Books and Sticks are just staring at her tits, and Leprechaun runs off with the hostage, and Tina says, "Listen, when a woman of royal blood shows you her breasts, that's a death sentence."
That's right.
What? I'm sorry.
You've never heard that custom before, Jeffrey?
I have not.
You know when Queen Elizabeth II showed her tits to Barack Obama, when like that was it. He was like his presidency was over after that.
Is this how England helped defeat the Germans in World War II? They showed Hitler their tits.
Yep.
She was.
Hitler went,
for World War
mein
II.
Titten.
Is it who was the monarch in World War II? It wasn't Queen Elizabeth. Was it King George?
Yes, it was her father.
Okay,
or I don't fucking remember. Yeah, it was her father.
Did King George show people his tits to defeat them in wars? Is that how Henry did it?
I gotta say, like, this checks out.
Sure.
Because honestly, it's like you've now seen the most, it'd be like you've now seen the most beautiful sight in all the universe. Prepare to die. I find this custom very similar to, the sort of Viking of like you drink from a glass and then you must smash the glass because so that no lesser human could ever drink from that glass. Like you are the pinnacle of that glass's life.
Mm-hmm.
This is very similar in that, like, you seeing her tits, your life is now complete.
Yeah.
You're going to die up there.
So this is now part of the show.
And this is because the next scene, the drag scene.
Listen, I need to tell you, Cecil, I need to apologize to you, and I need to apologize to our listeners, because I said something objectionable moments ago in the show when I said, and I know a lot of people are probably hurt by this, but I said that the Zarina tit scene was the most bonkers thing I had ever seen. I was lying. Yeah. It's actually Buckethead's drag show that is the most confounding thing I've ever seen.
Confounding, like perplexing, like a labyrinthine search for meaning. Okay, do you know what this reminded me of? I know this is rather late in the podcast, but you and I have a friend in common, Jacqueline Landgraf.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacqueline once described there's 3 levels of bad art.
Mm-hmm.
There's art that makes you question, like, why are these actors doing this? Why did this director do this? Like, why did they, like, this is a waste of time. Why these people, this is not good, right?
Yeah.
Then there's the next level, which makes you question, why are these people taking up my time?
Mm-hmm.
I could be like knitting a sweater. I could be walking a dog. I could be folding my shirts. Yeah. Right? Makes you mad that they are stealing your time.
Yeah.
Then there's art that makes you question art itself.
Why do we make art? Yeah.
Why is this even a job? Why should people get paid to pretend that they're a space marine with a metallic plate on their head in 2096, but they've been glamored by a fucking leprechaun into thinking they're gay and put on like a terrible wig. Sorry, Sarah Griff. This wig is this is a rat's nest wig.
Yeah. A
champagne colored like cocktail dress.
I expected better from Sergeant Buckethead.
I really did too, girl. Yeah. You busted. Like, it just makes you quit. Like these people all got paid to do this, and they take their job very seriously. But here's the thing that Jacqueline Landgraf did not say. There's actually a fourth level.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth level of bad art is where you question human existence itself, in which you would rather die. You would rather die and shoot your mother and your father and your children and your family and anyone you've ever met that you've loved. You would rather kill them all in the hopes that they will never make Leprechaun 4 in space. And those are the 4 levels of bad art. And I do say, I didn't get to level 4, but I definitely got to level 3. I was like, sir, I hope you collect that paycheck. Yeah. And you bought a lot of weed.
Yeah. So he gets into Sergeant Buckethead in drag, does a whole drag show, and then is in a fight with he punches sticks, and he's like fighting.
He kind of flirts with books.
Yeah,
which I was like, hello, kiss, come on, don't blue ball me here.
And basically, he ends up dying because he runs a bayonet at Tina, who steps out of the way, and it goes right into an electrical socket, and he fries. Yes. This is the moment. This is where he fries and his body collapses, and Tina was like, "Oh, he was a cyborg all along."
Oh, they did do the alien gag. Oh, okay. It's like spoiler alert for the thing.
Yeah. So he was a cyborg all along.
Oh, and so that's why he was so kill.
He's got a giant like metal dome on his head. Like, why would we already know cyborgs exist? Like, what? Okay.
I did love it when the metal dome, like he's like, he gets zapped, right? And the metal dome like falls off, and I shit you not, it is fucking Tinker Toys in there. It is Legos and Tinker Toys.
Yeah.
No joke. Like it is the inside of a Lego set.
Okay, so Dr. Mittenhands is full on now Mitten Spider, and he looks nothing like a spider, so much so that he has to announce, "Now I am Dr. Mitten Spider." He has to say this out loud so we understand what he has become. Correct. But he's just this giant weird turd looking
pustule was the well, I mean, honestly, to go with the it looks like something you would get at a hydrocolon therapy that would be flushed out of your lower colon.
Yeah.
Like it really is. It's like, it's not just a turd. It's like a purple turd of something that you ate that got stuck inside your descending colon for like 3 or 4 years, but is also spider-like in its structure.
So the Leprechaun has activated the ship's auto-destruct for whatever reason, even though he still wants to go get his gold. And I'm like, do the gold order of operations, you guys.
Yeah.
But so
I love that Princess Serena calls him out on this. She's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm winging it, girl. Around the only usable spaceship. And then he's like, I've got to get me gold. Oh, and also, what is the whole thing where she's like, well, I know where your gold is. It's in Cargo Bay. And I was like, and he's like, oh, well, let's go get it. Yeah. So now they're just rummaging through the cargo bay. But we know that Dr. Mittenhands has a Biggie Smalley ray.
Yes.
Literally, the only job of this fucking ray is to make big things small and small things big.
Yeah.
Chekhov's Biggie Smalley ray. Because it was introduced in the second act, and well, now it's the fourth act, and we're about ready to use it.
Biggie Smalley Ray is my favorite 90s hip-hop star.
That's right. DJ Biggie Smalley Ray.
So, oh God. So they Sticks is like,
do you need to lie down? Do you need a nice cup of tea, Jeffrey?
Yeah. This next 20 minutes, just be silence right now as we just hear me and Cecil lying down breathing. So Sticks runs up to the pilot bay where I guess Dr. Mittenhands has been piloting the ship. But he runs up there and he's like, I know, I'm a computer genius. I'll go crack the code. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
No, he's not.
He gets covered in webs by Dr. Mitten Spider, but Dr. Mitten Spider didn't kill him for whatever reason.
It's very like, it does the classic, like the camera is the monster. Mm-hmm. And like it's like over the shoulder, and he's like clickety clack 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 clickety, like working on this literally on a laptop computer to pilot a motherfucking spaceship. I kid you not. And the actor goes, what? Oh my God, it's you! and throws his hat and then, but the next, like, I guess sort of the MO of the spiders that they kind of like wrap up their food to go.
You put things in, you make like a little Capri Sun pouch out of it. Yeah. But you also kill it once you wrap it up.
Yeah. Or like stun it, or anyway. But he's very much alive and covered in goop.
Yeah. So now we're having the shootout with the Leprechaun and Books. Books just takes his shirt off for, I think something gets on his shirt, but I'm like, I don't know. Just take your shirt off, pretty man.
Oh, yeah. Well, he gets grazed by a bullet, so he has to like, put pressure on the wound with his shirt.
Yeah.
That's okay, because Tina is crawling through an air duct
and gets her pants ripped off.
And she gets her yoga pants ripped off. Listen, I know there was the quality of Lululemon has gone down in the years, but I didn't realize that you could just rip them right off.
No,
like NBA style.
Tear away. Yeah, tear away Lululemon.
By a Dr. Mittenhands that like hops out and goes and just like gone. And now she is flash dancing. She is dancing for her life for the rest of this film.
Yeah,
it's very flash dance. She looks great.
She does.
I mean, Books looks great. But it's so Skinamax right now.
Well, the Leprechaun figures out that he can get in the Biggie Smalley Ray because he was going to like start increasing the size of all of his gold. I don't know, whatever.
Yes. I don't even think he knew what he was doing. I think he was just pressing buttons, Jeffrey.
Yeah, he's just chaos agent, and he basically
it smalls all of his gold.
Yep, and then he embiggens himself with the ray. And so suddenly he's giant. I love so much of like how the animation here, it is just somebody like dragging up a file size in Photoshop because he is in 480p. He is in 72 DPI to the rest of this 600 DPI resolution.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
I also love how ironically we rolled tiny blank, but we got giant blank. Come on. You expect a leprechaun to be a small but you get a giant small, like, honestly, if this isn't art, I don't know how the human species is going to survive.
This movie made me understand why we make art. To clear our brains of movies like this.
That's it. Yes, to reboot after watching movies like this.
Okay, so Tina manages to kill Dr. Mitten Spider by hosing it down with liquid nitrogen because we're in a kitchen.
Liquid nitrogen, right.
And then she shoots it and it busts into a million shards.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Books gets Zarina and carries her away, and then they figure out he's in cargo bay too. So Tina's like, open the fucking cargo bay doors.
Yeah, exactly.
How?
But how when Dr. Mittenhands has password protected the entire ship?
Yeah. So that, first they managed to, like at the end of Aliens, spoiler, and Alien, spoiler, they kill the evil monster by blowing it out the space hatch into outer space, and that's what happens to the Leprechaun.
And it kind of goes wibbly wobbly for a moment, and then third alien explosion, third Leprechaun explosion. But this time it's chunky because like there's like a boot and just a finger. Flipping the bird.
The middle finger floats by the window of the spaceship and flips them off after it explodes. Okay, so they don't know the password. They run up to go help. Styx, and they're just like, I don't know. I'm like, just try something that's clearly not locking you out. This isn't like your bank account password. Just keep trying.
You're like, you've tried three times unsuccessfully.
Well, I think Dr. Mittenhands.
He's a genius. He's a scientist. He's a
wizard.
Wizard. Wizard. And sure enough, at the count of 1 second,
it works.
It works.
Typed it in. You know how modern day, like in 2022, in the 2020s, passwords, when you type them in, just come up with either asterisks or dots, to cover it. And just so you guys know, in the 1990s, all passwords were in like 32-point font of Comic Sans. That's how they were
it's
typed
absolutely
out. No security.
Sans.
Yeah.
No. And also, like, I love how that's just the password to unlock the computer. Never mind, like, you would then, with that 1 second, you would have to then like disable the bomb. Okay, that's fine. I guess the self-destruct is on password auto, whatever. It's fine.
Leprechaun hand flips him off from space. Credits. Shall we rate this movie?
Yes, let's.
how how approachable is this movie? If you are horror film
Is this
averse?
movie approachable?
Yeah, well,
How to approach this movie?
just on the horror movie approachability, one being like, do not approach this because it's too horrific. 10 being super approachable, even if you're horror averse. I mean, I would give like Leprechaun in Space like 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10, glitter manicures.
Yeah,
Because it's there's almost no blood other than the one that pours down from the ceiling when he yanks the chain.
for no reason.
The only like the strong bloody violence in this is just strong silly violence. You don't actually see anybody
You see things
really die.
like, yeah, like it's a lot of explosions. It's one dick explosion,
Yeah, but not
but
even that graphic. Like it's like
yeah,
it's stage. It is the level of it's save for the leprechaun exploding 3 times. The special effects in this are the level of like an off Broadway play.
yeah, yeah.
So it's just not gross, it's not scary, it's not whatever, it's just fucking silly. It falls into the horror canon because it is the sequel, the third sequel of the Leprechaun series. So yeah, it's approachable in that way. In many other ways, which we have accounted for already in this episode, it is super unapproachable. But I don't know, get high, have fun. Cecil, what about you as a horror film?
Man, this is a bad one. This is real bad. But here's the thing, it's quickly paced and bad. And for that, I will give it 4 dick explosions
Uh-huh.
in the horror canon. That sounds rather high, doesn't it? It sounds very high. Like I was originally going to go with the 3, but I think it gets an extra one because even though it is dumb as fuck and the writing makes no sense and the jokes are all corny, borscht belt, lend me a hand, someone throws them a hand kind of jokes, it doesn't lag. Like it is super dumb, and it's a tight 90 minutes, and then you have a good time and you go, I just saw a leprechaun explode out of a marine's dick for the second time in my life. I mean,
Agreed.
not since that time in Savannah.
Yeah, I think if this type of movie is for you, you love the like just the like C movie, not even B movie,
Yeah.
like C movie, dumb, dumb, dumb.
Yeah.
If that's your thing, I would say go for it. If you and your friends get together and do your own MST,
Like this is MST3K riff tracks the
Yeah.
fuck out of this movie, and it will love you for it.
Yeah. Well, let's figure out what we're gonna watch next. You've got a scare die. I have a style die. We'll roll those up, match those up, and see what movie comes out of that. So, Cecil, on your scare die, if you roll a 1, our next movie's scare has to be existential. 2, alien. 3, a lady killer. 4, killer games. 5, evil science. Or 6, our scare is zombie. What is our scare?
That's a 6.
We are gonna do zombie.
Yeah, classic.
Okay, yeah, solid classic one. We've got a zombie scare, and I'm gonna match that with the style that I roll. So if I roll a 1, our style is found footage. 2, action fantasy, something that falls a little bit out of the horror movie genre, or ride side saddle with it. 3, 1970s movie. 4, body horror as the style. 5, something from the last 5 years. Or 6, European horror film. Let's see what zombie movie we got. I rolled a 6, Euro horror zombie.
Oh my. Now, okay, shall we start with what our listeners on Letterboxd have suggested, or should we start with what we've suggested?
Let's talk about what's on the grid. You want to start that?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so what we got here? I literally just added one a moment ago, and that is Demons 2. Because if you remember from Demons 1,
of course,
they unleash, and yeah, it's called demons, but those are zombies. Like they move like zombies, they behave like zombies, and it's very Euro. And if I remember right, Demons 2 is a bananas cuckoo crazy wild ride. What else we have? We have 28 Weeks Later, which is a sequel to 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
I can't remember if Danny Boyle, I think Danny Boyle directed this one as well. But it's a more sticky, oh no, what happens when military kind of takes over and martial law, and oh no, the people are the bad guy the whole time zombie movie.
I hear it's very good, and we just
It's
watched
good.
a sequel. It'd be nice to watch a competent sequel. I hear it's very good movie.
Competent. Yes.
Competent, yeah. We also have this movie, They Came Back, which is unfortunately not available for
Oh
streaming, what I can
no.
see. But I believe
Darn.
this is what this is the Returned, right? Like this is the
Oh, really?
right? Isn't this what or do I have this wrong? Yeah, the lives of the residents of a small French town are changed when thousands of the recently dead inexplicably come back to life and try to integrate
Interesting.
themselves into society. I think
Oh.
the TV
Le
show The
Revenant
Return, yeah, Le Revenant. I believe the TV show The Return was based
was
off of
based on
this.
this.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting. And we can't watch it? Damn it.
no, but
At least
I
not in
do believe
America.
there is a French. There is also the French series, which I think is based off of the movie. That there's a French TV series called Le
Interesting.
Revenant, The Returned, that you can watch. Um, and then The Night Eats the World.
I've heard a lot about this. This has come up on the grid a few times because I think, is this another found footage as well?
Maybe
I can't
so.
remember. I can't remember, but this one because it's very much zombies in Paris.
Okay,
Literally, zombies in Paris,
I like
which I'm here
it's
for.
yeah. Well, there's also the other French kind of zombie monster film, As Above, So Below, and both of them have a red and black poster with an
That's
upside
what I'm
down
thinking
Eiffel
of.
Tower.
That's what I'm thinking of. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I'm thinking of that one. That's the found footage one.
yeah.
So, oh, this one is much more. This one sounds very similar to 28 Days Later in that it's
Hmm.
a single person in a city, not London, but Paris, who's like trying to make a life for himself with zombies all around.
Okay, so let's look at our Letterboxd. We're at Random Horror 9 on Letterboxd if you want to kind of contribute to some of our grid possibilities. So Katie throws out Anna and the Apocalypse. This is a musical zombie picture. This gets recommended a lot. It's a movie I have not seen before.
Sure.
Musical horror is always pretty fun to think about. We've also got, who is this? Let's see. Brave Crab, who brought us Leprechaun 4 last
Yes.
week,
Leprechaun,
throws out
the brave crab, you might be put in the penalty box for a week or two. You're
No,
not
keep them
gone. You're
coming,
not
Brave
86.
Crab.
You're like, you're going to go and sit and think about what you did.
Brave Crab says Dead Snow 2. It's a little bit better than the first one. I think this is Dead Snow is the zombie.
Yes.
Zombie Nazis.
Zombie Nazis.
Yeah.
Great. Love that. Very Euro.
Paul Richards, this feels like a cheat. Resident Evil, because it was filmed partially in Germany. I'm not going to count that.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy that one.
And then we have one called Cemetery Man, which is
Cemetery Man is amazing. I'm almost positive you cannot watch in the United States.
It is not available for streaming according to Just Watch. Yeah. This gets thrown out also by user Henrik Erlandson, who says Delamort. This is
the Italian title. Yeah, it's amazing. It's beautiful. It is Rupert Everett at his sexiest, making out with a zombie model. It's very good. We will maybe watch it someday. Hey, Jeffrey, maybe next time you and I are in Europe together, we'll have a date and just go watch Cemetery Man.
Yeah, absolutely. We also have a suggestion for Die Zombie Jäger, Zombie Hunter, which would be the German thing, but it's actually a Swedish zombie movie. I'm not finding anything about this movie online.
Henrik, are you in Europe right now? You might be looking at different things than we can get in the United States.
We also have La Horde, which is also, I believe, from Henrik as well. It's a French.
I've heard of this one.
Movie. Gangsters, cops, and zombies. It looks fucking bonkers.
Is it?
Bunch of crooked cops raid a ruined building located in an impoverished suburb of Paris, determined to furiously avenge the death of one of them. But that unexpectedly turns into an undead plague. Happens upon them. Oopsie doodle.
Like it happens. I'd be curious about La Horde. Out of these suggestions, La Horde is the one that I'm like, that sounds like a serious contender. If us Americans can watch it.
It does look like it is available for streaming. You can do it on
Nice.
Tubi or rent it from Apple.
Nice.
Both Benjamin Barron and El Paradise suggest Living Dead at Manchester Morgue.
Never heard of this one.
This is from 1974. Again, don't know this movie. So Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. This is on Shudder. This is when a series of murders hits the remote English countryside. A detective suspects a pair of travelers when it's actually just the work of the undead.
Is this also under the title "Let Sleeping Corpses Lie"?
It
I'm
might.
not getting anything under that title.
Yeah, I pulled it up on Just Watch. Living Dead at Manchester Morgue.
Oh, okay. I will trust you then.
It's got an Italian title too, so I'm guessing Jorge Grau directed it. I don't know. This might be one of those like all hands on deck European movies directed by
Like there's
Spaniard,
money coming in from
produced by
everywhere.
Italians, made in England.
Yeah. Which is pretty common.
Let's
see. What else we got here?
We've got Burial Ground, which is from 1981. Le Notti del Terrore.
Ooh.
That's
my favorite. That's my favorite kind of pasta shape, actually.
When you're here, your family. Burial Ground, 1981. This is Andrea Bianchi directed this. Again, Secret in an Ancient Stone. Professor finds it, opens a crypt that revives a bunch of zombies.
Okay.
We have Rec 2 coming from M. DeCoste. We watched Rec 1 for Patreon.
If I remember right. Yeah.
King and Commoner seconding Anna and the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Suspicious Beans throws out Shaun of the Dead, which we have not covered for the show. That is technically European, although maybe not in the spirit of us doing European.
Yes.
McNulty's Girl throws out Boy Eats Girl.
Delicious.
Cockneys versus Zombies.
Oh dear. Come on now.
And The Cured. What do we suppose The Cured is?
I don't know.
Boy Eats Girl is another one. Like, I think these are all English from what I'm gathering. McNulty says they've never seen this movie, just came across it when trying to find the name of another movie. So maybe not The Cured. All right. So what is sounding good to us?
Man.
Okay. A couple of sequels. There's a bunch of sequels that actually sound really fascinating to me. 28 Weeks Later sounds fascinating.
Sure.
Demons 2 sounds fun. I kind of like that. I'm trying to avoid just straight up English, which is 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah, UK horror to me feels different than Euro horror. I don't know.
I want to include UK horror because there's still some good ones in there, but yeah. Okay.
I am very curious. Okay, I think out of these, La Horde sounds like an interesting premise because listen, you throw gangsters, because I'm just imagining French Tony Soprano shooting up zombies, and that is a film that I've never seen before that I would like to.
Agreed.
I'm also curious about The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. The fact that it's on Shudder and Shudder's excellently curated. 2 people recommended it. Here's my thing, Jeffrey. After watching Leprechaun 4 in space, how is your tummy doing? Are you ready for more what could potentially be kind of a schlocky, sloppy kind of thing? Or do you want something a little more, as you said, competently made film?
I think anything of this, almost everything we just listed off of Letterboxd in our own list is going to feel, it's going to feel Orson Wellesian compared to what we just watched.
Oh, also Rec 2, just because
Rec 2,
I think I've seen that one as well, but I can't remember. I think I've seen the one, Rec 3 at the wedding, whatever the one where the wedding is at.
Okay. Rec 2 sounds super fun. And then the Apocalypse sounds fun, but I think I kind of want something kind of scary.
And also something more European.
He
says in a generic European accent.
Okay. Living Dead at Manchester Morgue is a Spanish-Italian film filmed in England, probably in the style of Argento, so it's probably in English.
Okay.
I think that's pretty fun. I think that that you're getting into, like with Demons 2, you're getting into borderline giallo, sort of giallo monster stuff. I think I'm with you. I think La Horde looks the most interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's got decent reviews. It's another cool hour, 40 minutes. It's available online. It'd be between that and Murders at Manchester, or Living Dead at Manchester Morgue for me. Those are the two.
I'm into that.
I'm into that.
With like Rec 2 as like a dark horse back there.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? Do you have one of those that's calling out to you more than the others?
Let's go en français and watch.
I think that's the way to go. Yeah, let's do La Horde. It is available for watching on Tubi if you want ads, or rental on Apple and Amazon. So check that out. That was fun. Well, thank you all for listening. Thank you, Cecil, for talking with me. And if you have thoughts, which you will, on Leprechaun 4 in space, Jesus Christ.
Or you won't, because you will not remember. You'll literally have blacked it out of your mind.
This is how sometimes trauma response works. Your brain is like, shut that down. You cannot think about this again.
Listen, carry the scar for the rest of your life and carry it with pride.
But maybe you have ideas for other movies that would have been good zombie European horror flicks. Let us know on Twitter or Instagram at randomhorror9, and watch La Horde, or The Horde, from 2010 with us this week, and come on back next Tuesday for a new episode. Have a restful night with no unlucky charms cast upon you or nothing.
Boo!